FBI Director Kash Patel is currently facing a level of legal and political pressure that could easily become the defining test of his entire tenure. We're looking at a rapidly escalating threat matrix that goes way beyond standard Washington political criticism. Right now, at the very center of this controversy is an incredibly active and tense federal court battle involving document production.
The message from federal judge Emmett Sullivan was reportedly crystal clear. Produce the documents and do it by the deadline. That deadline was 5 p.m. And this wasn't just some routine procedural reminder either. According to accounts from the hearing, the court was demanding absolute compliance, and the judge had grown increasingly frustrated with what was seen as incomplete document production.
What makes this so urgent is that the reported consequence for failing to comply was incredibly severe. We aren't talking about a standard monetary penalty or a slap on the wrist. The threat on the table was contempt of court, carrying the extremely serious possibility of physical custody by federal marshals. That specific distinction fundamentally shifts the gravity of this entire situation.
This direct collision with the federal court system means we are no longer just looking at a political dispute playing out on television or social media. It's a direct confrontation. You have a sitting FBI director colliding head-on with the enforcement power of the judicial branch. And while this immediate legal battle unfolds in front of a federal judge, it's actually far from the only threat Patel is navigating right now. In fact, there are 3 simultaneous legal fronts opening up against him at the exact same time. We have the federal court document dispute we just mentioned, a wave of lawsuits from former FBI agents, and resurfacing questions regarding his previous testimony and immunity connected to the Mar-a-Lago investigation. Combined, these create a snowballing crisis that threatens massive legal exposure.
That legal exposure deepens significantly when we look at the lawsuits being filed by former FBI agents. These are individuals who were fired during Patel'S tenure, and they're taking their dismissals straight to court. Their complaints reportedly argue that their terminations didn't just break protocol, but actually violated federal law, First Amendment rights, and due process protections.
Digging into these legal filings, one of the most serious allegations claims that Patel allegedly understood the legal risk of these firings, but believed his position required him to remove people connected to investigations involving Donald Trump. If those specific allegations are actually proven in court, the implications are profound. It moves the controversy entirely away from a debate over aggressive management style and turns it into a question of knowingly violating constitutional and legal protections. It's the difference between a boss making tough HR calls and a federal leader breaking the law.
Adding yet another layer of complexity to this growing matrix is the issue surrounding his past Mar-a-Lago testimony. This traces back to the classified documents investigation, where Patel reportedly invoked his Fifth Amendment rights repeatedly before the Justice Department ultimately secured an arrangement for his testimony.
But it's absolutely crucial to understand that an immunity deal is not a universal get-out-of-jail-free card. Limited immunity generally protects specific testimony. It doesn't automatically shield a person if investigators find independent evidence of wrongdoing. More importantly, it does not make knowingly false testimony harmless. The word perjury dramatically raises the stakes in any of these proceedings. If a court determines someone intentionally gave false testimony under oath, whether that's about document production or previous actions, producing documents later on doesn't erase those earlier statements. This dynamic leaves Patel's legal position remarkably fragile.
While he navigates these immense legal hurdles, Patel is simultaneously fighting a very public battle over the culture and protocol of the FBI itself. A major controversy recently erupted over his decision to publicly discuss FBI activity connected to a case that had reportedly been sealed by a federal court. He went online to praise his team for 5 arrests that protected large public gatherings, including the UFC 250 event.
Now, the problem wasn't the arrests themselves. It was that the underlying case was sealed, a legal measure meant to protect witnesses and safeguard ongoing investigations. And critics point out this isn't an isolated incident. They point to a growing list of controversies: promoting sealed arrest cases online, disbanding the Public Corruption Squad, launching a $250 million lawsuit against The Atlantic, grabbing beers with the Olympic team in Milan on government travel, and the Freedom 250 event featuring an anthem performance by his girlfriend.
Taken individually, these incidents certainly generate headlines, but taken collectively, former FBI personnel argue they paint a concerning picture of a director who prioritizes personal visibility over traditional bureaucratic discretion. It raises a critical internal question for the Bureau. If agents see their boss turning sensitive investigations into public content, what exactly do they learn is rewarded? Is it careful, quiet investigative work, or is it publicity? These concerns about how the FBI operates under pressure are deeply rooted in recent history. To put this into perspective, consider the number 43. During the first Trump administration, a DOJ leak investigation controversially obtained the communications records of roughly 43 congressional staffers, along with journalists. Kash Patel, who was a staffer on the House Intelligence Committee at the time, was reportedly among them. He has literally been on the receiving end of this immense investigative power, and now he's the one controlling it. With that control comes an intense mounting political pressure. Patel's political safety net might actually be weakening as these legal battles unfold. His previous statements, where he suggested journalists could face legal action, acknowledged reposting enemies list imagery, and criticized judges, are now resurfacing under heavy congressional scrutiny.
This scrutiny has created a really stark divide between public support and private reality. Publicly, Donald Trump has praised Patel's job performance, and the White House has called him a critical member of the team. But behind the scenes, reporting indicates severe frustration over the negative headlines, his travel, and his use of government resources. There are even rumors circulating that former Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey is being viewed by some inside the administration as a viable, less controversial alternative for the director role.
What complicates Patel's political survival even further is his unusual isolation right now. He isn't just facing criticism from traditional FBI defenders, he's also experiencing real friction with MAGA activists. Many of them are dissatisfied with the FBI's conclusions regarding the Trump assassination plot, which found the suspect acted alone, and they're frustrated over unresolved theories surrounding the January 6th pipe bomb case. Patel is essentially taking fire from all sides. Ultimately, this all leads to a massive institutional test. The Bureau is under immense pressure, and it can't simply stop functioning while its leadership is scrutinized. National security threats are constant. Investigations have to continue. The combined weight of these federal court battles, lawsuits, and political controversies directly threatens the ongoing, day-to-day, critical functioning of the FBI itself. As we look at where this is all heading, it's absolutely crucial to separate the political reporting from the stark legal reality. Political protection might delay consequences for a time, but as the saying goes, a federal court doesn't care how powerful your political allies are. A television interview or a viral social media post simply cannot erase an enforceable court order, and it certainly cannot dismiss hard evidence proven in a court of law. Which brings us to the defining question of Kash Patel's tenure. When immense political power collides head-on with a federal court, who ultimately gets the final word? The answer won't be decided by who generates the loudest headlines or commands the most followers. It will be decided strictly by evidence and by the law. And for the FBI director, that ultimate test is only just beginning.